thing.
Hold on to your butts. We are in for a video game review.
Wow, she got a little Captain Kirk on that one.
Yes.
We're going to talk about our top 5 choose your own adventure games. And you don't know what that is, it's a game where there's a whole bunch of different outcomes, and the way that you play it determines the outcome of the game. So my 5th game is a Bethesda made game called Dishonored.
Oh, I was going to say, I was going to let the trailer play and tell everybody what it is just by the trailer playing.
Oh, zoom out. Or is it?
Zoom out.
Zoom out. This game is so freaking good. My God. And the game's so old too. It came out like a long time ago.
2009.
Yes.
I don't know.
I played the hell out of this thing. Something like that. Before I had kids, I think. But this puts you in London when the plague's happening.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
So it's a plague game, and it's a very, like, you can see all the dead bodies drop. It's a very modern game, too, because technology seems advanced in some places and not advanced. And you have...
interesting.
You have powers where you can control rats, and you have kind of bit of magic going on. And how you play the game determines on what the next game, part 2, is actually going to be. So it's really, really interesting.
Now, does this have like a morality system? That's what I was looking for.
Yes.
So, like, if you're a bad person, then bad things happen. If you're a good person, good things happen.
So if you start killing citizens, then you get bad points for that, and the people that you're trying to save. Because you're an assassin for, like, the king or the queen.
Okay,
in this game.
That makes sense.
And yeah, you are trying to save the people who are trying to overthrow, which are bad people, the king or queen. And you have to hide in the shadows, and it is just.
Now, is that gameplay that I'm looking at, or did they do that thing they do with trailers? Okay,
no,
because some trailers basically they use the game engine, but then they soup it up. So, like, it looks perfect, and then you go to play it, it's like, why is it so blocky?
So this is actual, like, gameplay and slow motion and all that stuff.
Yeah, made cinematic.
Yep.
Now, do they have the cinematics in the game where stuff goes slow-mo?
Oh, yeah.
Like, can you speed things up and slow things down? Okay.
Yes, there is a skill that you can develop to do that, where you can dodge people's attacks. Nah, you're good. You're good. So Dishonored, that was fantastic, and that's a Bethesda game. And that's why one of the reasons why I was so stoked when Xbox bought Bethesda. I was like,
made it a lot easier.
Oh my God.
Made it a lot easier for you. 12/12/12 is 12/10/12 is when it came out. So it is indeed 9 years old. Yep, and it's 9 years old. I said 2009, which would have made it a lot older.
Yeah,
but still a 10-year-old game these days, they hold up a lot better than...
That game held up. Yep. Like,
yes, it looks like it. I'm looking at that game going, wow, that looks pretty darn amazing. Okay, so now we're going to your number 4.
Number 4 game is Far Cry 5. I'm currently playing that. I have invested about 40 to 50 hours in this thing so far.
That's crazy.
Times where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's light outside and it's the weekend. I should probably go to bed sometime.
Yeah, or get some sleep.
And what's really freaking cool in this game, you get a dog that's an Australian cattle dog.
Oh,
and that's my dog.
We talked about that. Yeah. That's awesome. The thing that I don't like about game mechanics, and it happened with, like, I don't think Ratchet and Clank was that bad, but there were some games like Sonic and Tails. And Nintendo does this a lot, where...
Hey, look, there's the dog.
There's the ability to have a second character, but they play like an ancillary role, and it's stupid. Like, it is the dumbest thing.
So,
like, I hate it when they do that. So that's why I said...
in this game, you can actually have different partners. You can have up to, like, 6.
Yeah.
And they actually, you could tell them what to do. You could tell them to go around back. They'll go around back and help you. If you have the dog, he can smell out where all the enemies are, and you see it on your screen, like block points where the enemies are.
That's
my
amazing.
gosh! And if you get shot and you're dying, your partners come and save you. So it's awesome. You can fish in this game. You could hunt in this game. You can fly planes, cars, and basically, there's a cult that took over this part of like Australia.
I got
and you're smack dab in the middle, and you're a deputy police officer, and you're trying to save this whole town.
Whoa,
and it's fantastic.
Crazy.
Yeah. And
now,
and one of your partners is a bear.
You can do it any way you want. What did they use in this system to kind of get you from point A to point B? It's not a morality system, is it? Or...
So you have the choice of so you have one top like cult leader, and then he has his family members that are stationed throughout, and you can go through whatever way you want to do to get to the final boss. And the outcome of point system is who you choose to go first. Yeah, so this is 2018, and I am invested heavily into this game.
Funny. That is too funny. So that was
it's fantastic.
That is fantastic.
Far Cry 5.
I believe it or not, a lot of these games I currently own, but I do not have all the systems up and running yet. So the Xbox we've talked about. Just a brief aside. So I have two controllers here, and one of them was connected to the Xbox. I had paired it, no problem. But there's a power short. So I play for like 5 or 10 seconds, and then it would crap out. It would be like, reconnect your controller. I play for 5 or 10 seconds, reconnect your controller. And I'm like, crap. And it's definitely a power short because now it won't even connect. Now it's just like, not going to connect at all now. Now the other one though, so this is my controller number 2. I think this one has a chip inside of it that's bad because it never will pair. Period. It just keeps blinking and blinking. And I've checked out the tutorials. I know how to pair it because, like I said, I got one of them to pair and the other one wouldn't. Now, what I find hilarious about it is that if you look at this one, they still have the sticker on it that comes when you first buy it.
Yes.
Like they never pulled the sticker off. So I'm like, that's weird to me. Now, my question for you, though, is I know that this is a charge port right here up on top. Is that also the ability to hardwire it in? Like, can I hardwire it? Okay, good. So I'll just buy that cable and I'll hardwire it and I'll use it that way. Because I wanted to do, because Tick Plays Games now. I just started my own Tick Plays Games.
Yes.
Blatant self-promotion. And the game that I wanted to play was Skate 2, because I've heard really good things about Skate. And of course it's backwards because my screen is backwards. But Skate 2, and they have like a training mode. And the reason that I set up everything to show people what I was doing was because literally it's me falling down. Like it's just like, so like on the ground, on the ground, on the ground.
Yes.
It's
not Tony Hawk. Like you have to.
No, you've got to have skill. You actually have to have skill, and that's what I dig about it.
Is awesome on Skate 4. Like he does all these tricks, and I'm just like, I'm just skating.
Right. And so it was funny too because I was doing tricks without actually moving. I was just using the analog joysticks. And it was like ollie. Yeah, it was like because I was hitting the buttons, I was hitting the flippers, and I was using the analog sticks. I wasn't actually kicking the board, kicking the ground to make the board move. It was just like I felt like I was Rodney Mullen. I was just like flipping around all in one spot, and I was like, "Wow, this is awesome." And then of course my controller went and crapped out. And I was like, no! Yeah. So now that I know I can hardwire it, because I don't care if it's wireless or not. I think that's a big thing. Like most people, like if you saw my wire collection around here, you'd be like, oh yeah, I know why you don't care about wires. They're everywhere.
Yeah, right.
But when it comes to gaming, most people want or need a wireless controller. Did you hear what they're doing though with the Xbox? I think it's the last generation of Xbox controllers. It might be Xbox 360s. They came out with a new firmware that makes the old controllers act like new controllers. Like the actual lag time and the speed at which it works. The firmware just came out recently. I don't know how recent it is. But it basically makes it so that instead of having a controller, you're like, man, this thing works like 1922. Right. You know what I mean? It actually has the speed of a modern controller. I don't know what they did. I'm sure it's some technical nonsense that neither of us would understand. So now we are on to number 3.
Ooh,
dun, dun,
Mass
dun.
Effect. So here's a game for you, Tick. So I put Mass Effect 2 and 3
together,
both as my number 3.
Yes.
But you got to play the whole series. These were just number 2 was my favorite out of all.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. That's interesting too, how some franchises, there's a specific one. Like Resident Evil, I think it's Resident Evil 2 is it 2 or 3? There's one that everybody loves, and they made a remake of it that they botched horribly, that everybody complains about.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, that remake's a POS.
So this thing won so many awards.
I see it, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So this one, you can choose your character. And
this is a full-fledged system. I've seen Mass Effect before.
Oh my gosh.
Character, what you buy, what you do.
Like number 1, and whatever you do on number 1 continues to number 2, continues to number 3.
Oh man, that's amazing. Now, what if you just want to jump in on 3? Can you jump in on 3 and have any chance?
You can.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
some
100%.
games you don't have any chance if you jump in on 3.
But what's cool is your characters that you kept as your team will continue through to the next game. Or
you see, that's
if they
good.
died, if they died, you can't play them. Like they're not there.
That's
done.
Horrible and hilarious and horrible.
If you romance a character, that romance continues through the next game.
What? I wonder if you could have kids. That'd be crazy.
Right?
Well, I was just going to say that the game mechanic here reminds me of D&D. Like, basically, it's like playing a D&D character and having a D&D party. You know what I mean? Very few games have done that, because that's hard to pull off, to be quite honest. To have a character that you can fully develop and then take to the next game, to the next game, to the next game.
Look, you could romance the characters,
Oh, that's so funny.
And honestly, and you can't do any romancing, anything like that, until you build up trust with the characters.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, you have to go through. Let's see. What else about this game that was so fantastic?
I'm trying to get a title screen. So
I think one of the Sheens. Who's the dad? What's his name?
Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen. Yeah, he's in number 3 as like the antagonist, and then you have who's that guy that does? He was in Austin Powers, and he was the bad guy's son.
Oh, Seth Green.
Seth Green. Yeah, he's your pilot of your ship.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is
so it's really
awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say. So name Martin Sheen's kids that were in the movies, and there's 2. But it's kind of a trick question, because when you answer it. You're like,
you got Charlie,
winner,
Sheen,
winner. Yes,
and you got Emilio Estevez.
Bing! You have won this crazy game, and
did he marry Gloria Estevez? Is that the same?
No.
Is that
No, his mom's name. That's a family. That's his mom's name. So what he did was, right before he was about to go into the industry, he did not want to leverage his dad's name to get himself farther down the road. So he said, you know what? I'll go in and I'll be my mom's name. And that's where Emilio Estevez comes from. And he just did Mighty Ducks on Disney Plus. So Mighty Ducks, I don't remember the name, but I only watched about 3 or 4 episodes, but I liked it. I thought it was good. But you know what? With modern kid shows or modern kid TV stuff, I can't get into it as much as I used to. You know what I mean? It's just I'm not that
I
demo.
Have kids,
so
and there's some shows that I'm like, why?
You know what show I could never watch is Teletubbies.
What?
Like, there's so many people that love the Teletubbies. I'm like, no, I'd rather buy a handgun if you know what I'm saying. And it's not to shoot anybody else, if you know what I'm saying. And now this is the part of the show where I need to put up the suicide prevention line, because, like, seriously, that's Teletubbies. All right. Next, number two.
Number two, numero dos, is Life is Strange and Before the Storm. I combined two games into this one because one is the prequel and one is the real game. And this game, you're a chick dealing with high school stuff, but how you do things is what goes on in the next game.
Oh, okay.
It does like different chapters, and how you choose to play does all the chapters. Like, it tells the story. And I've played this different times and different endings.
Wow, that's crazy. See, I always like the repeat value. The repeat value on a game is good. This is really good.
Yeah. And Max has this thing where she can go back like a couple minutes in time and change the outcome.
Love time dynamics. My favorite.
And this deals with not only... Oh, by the way, you can play D&D in this game. You can spend
that's
like
even
hours
more
playing
hilarious.
D&D.
That's even more hilarious. I got my dice behind me, so that's just so funny.
And the dynamics between these two girls... So Max, the one with the camera, is the main girl for
and that's her friend.
Life is Strange. Yep. And then the other one, Zoe, is Before the Storm.
Is the other for the other game? Now, did the games come out in sequence or did they come out in parallel? Meaning, did they come out?
It came out as a prequel. So, Life is Strange came out first, and it did so well that they had to do a prequel.
Got it.
And for the prequel, which is cool, is they took one of my top 5 bands, a band called Daughter, and they did the whole soundtrack to it.
Genius. Genius. And you know what's so funny is when they were in that parking lot, I totally got a Twilight vibe, the movie Twilight. I was like, where are they shooting this, in Twilight Land? Because same kind of truck and same kind of driving around, same pine trees.
I got so attached to this game.
Yeah.
In chapter 5, something happened to one of the characters, and I had to stop playing. I had to stop playing.
I get it. No, because what happens
now,
could you replay it and get around that, or
I tried that a whole bunch of times,
and that's what I was gonna say, and it was unget-aroundable.
One that was you can't do it, you have to push through it, and you could change what happens through that chapter.
And that's what I was gonna say. Did you ever make it past that?
Oh, yeah. I made it past it. I just had to suck it up because I was literally. And you can watch gameplay of this, and people are in tears, bawling their eyes out because
I'm only laughing because I get that 150%. It's just, I don't know. I always find the juxtaposition of a guy my age playing a video game just
Yep. And
it's
I've
just
seen
hilarious.
It where
always find that
the
funny.
Streamers get up and they're just cussing. They're like, "F this game! I can't fucking play this game anymore."
I have a feeling that if you had been on camera when you were playing the game, that totally would have been you. You would have been nope.
Crying
you would have been crying, and you would have throwing your controller down and I quit. This game's over. Yeah. So number 1 coming up.
Number one. And
then.
guess what? Guess what studio made this game?
Bethesda.
Yes.
I'm just laughing because we've talked about that before. Your number 1 and 2 games of all times are by the same company that just recently... What? Stop. Leave me alone. They just recently got purchased by Microslave. Yep. And so since Microslave is enslaving the universe... Which is funny, because I don't think they're as bad as they were when I was a kid, but...
Right. This is Fallout 4. Everybody's like, Fallout Vegas or Fallout 3 is the best. I love me some Fallout 4.
And you know what's funny is I'm going to have to check my shelf, because I think out of the games that you've mentioned, I think I own at least 2. I might have 3 of these games. So it's just a matter of making sure I have the systems and stuff. Because I think Fallout 4 I have for the Xbox 360.
Fallout 3 you should have for that one.
That might be what
I'm just going to be quiet, and you can just...
War never changes.
You can chew this. You can eat it up like a Snickers.
It's insane.
In the year 1945, my great-great-grandfather,
Jebediah,
serving in the army, wondered when he'd get to go home to his wife
never.
and the son he'd
Welcome
never
to
seen.
war.
He got his wish when the U.S. ended World War II by dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The world awaited Armageddon. Instead, something miraculous happened. We began to use atomic energy not as a weapon, but as a nearly limitless source of power.
No comment.
People enjoyed luxuries once thought the realm of science fiction. Domestic robots,
Love domestic robots.
fusion-powered cars,
Love fusion-powered cars.
portable computers.
Love, what are those? Portable what?
But then,
Portable computers called
21st
Pip
century.
Boys, which
That's
is
awesome.
has nothing to do with our
woke
Pip
the
money
American
That's
from
even
Free
funnier.
Labs.
years of consumption.
I've
led to
seen those
shortages of
before.
Every major resource.
A lot of makers make those.
The entire world unraveled. Peace became
Wow.
a distant memory. It is now the year
Mech.
2077. We stand
Amazon's
in
making
total
a
war.
TV series out of this.
Oh, that'll be
I'm
amazing.
afraid
I love what Amazon does.
for
I do too.
myself,
I was a huge fan of Man in High Castle.
Wife,
Wait, was that
for my
Hulu?
infant son,
Might have been Hulu.
I don't know.
I probably screwed that one up.
because if my time in the army taught me one thing,
War never
it's
changes.
that war never changes.
Love that. Wow, that was amazing.
Right?
What?
Whew. So in that game too, your decisions
Yes.
cost you everything. And you could not even play the main storyline and go through and play hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. And you're not even doing, you can just build. You can just go into like
And build stuff.
an empty spot and just build stuff. Like
And they don't have like a time thing where like you've screwed up,
No.
you've spent too much time doing
Nope.
something, so now the world
Nope.
ends or whatever.
And then
That's
you can
amazing.
have partners. You can. My favorite partner is a dog called Dog Meat, and
Such a good one.
and it's awesome. And there's monsters in it. There's bad guys in it. There's places
Now-
where you just wander. Yeah.
On that game, do they have? Is it more like a D&D system, or is it like how would you describe the game mechanic? Like, okay, so I pick a character, and then do I level up skills? Do I pick a character? Do
Yes.
I like have a
so you can
morality
level up
thing?
skills.
Okay.
Yeah, and you have perks and you have skills, and yeah, the more like if you want to just kill things, you can have sniper skills, and
Okay.
that is one of the most modded games. There's so many
Oh, okay.
mods for that thing.
Yeah.
And
yep.
one of my favorite mods is survival mode.
Okay.
And no guns, and you just use knives. And you go through and you play the whole game that way.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now, how do you do
It's
a
really cool.
mod on a console? Like, do you?
Oh, you just download it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
Well, no.
there's
I
mods.
wasn't sure because I know on a PC, obviously, you can just drag and drop a file in. So, do you
there-
just put it on a
there
USB
is-
key and then just take it into your
No.
file system somehow?
No, you connect the Xbox to the Bethesda website and
Okay.
you just download the mods.
Oh, okay.
It's
Welcome
awesome.
to modern times. I have no clue. So, no,
Yeah.
that makes brilliant sense. I just remember that
And-
mods in games were very
Yeah.
frowned upon by most developers. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to
Right.
find, like, Mario Brothers, and they're like, hey, we've changed all the characters. You know what I mean? Like, no. They
Yep.
they really, like, most companies really protect their intellectual assets, and they don't
Right.
allow you to do much outside the box.
So this brings us scroll down to
Yeah.
the Bethesda. You should hire this person.
Oh, yeah. Let me go
Because-
down to that guy.
Thank you for watching this segment of the TP Show. Please follow us on Fruit Lab. Don't forget we have a podcast on your favorite podcast app. This has been another installment of the TP Show.